Hey cactus friends, it's Jenny from Cookies Cacti. We are back with our 10-month update on these Copiapoa seedlings that we've been really tracking through my A Lazy Way to Grow Cactus from Seed series. So for those of you who have been watching this series, you'll know that there are two sets of seedlings that we've been tracking. One set has just turned 10 months old, and then the other set has just turned a year old. Now, just before recording this video, I actually went back and watched my 9-month update video just to remind myself of where we were, because I felt like it was a long time ago. And, you know, I think some of these seedlings are not looking as good as they were a month ago. So you all really are watching me in real time go through this and learn, because I am not a seasoned grower by any means. This is the first time I've gone through a lot of this type of experience. So, you know, we're still figuring things out, and you're really watching me in real time do that. So let's take a look at things. So I feel like things are not doing that great compared to a month ago. Another thing you'll notice is that all of my older Copiapoa seedlings are gone. They're all outside. They're either under the pergola, under my shade area, or inside my shade house. So we'll go outside and take a look at those as well. So for those of you who watched my 9-month update, you'll remember that in that video I was saying that my older seedlings were starting to have problems, and that's what led me to putting them outside. Those problems that I saw on my older seedlings are also showing up now on my younger seedlings, and I would say that not much longer after my last update video, those issues started to show up. I think that all of these guys need to be moved outside as well, so I need to go and make more space. My plan is to move them into the shade house. So any Copiapoa seedlings, the older ones that are in the shade house, I'm going to have to move them out and make room for these guys, because they're also not doing well in the same manner. So let's go ahead and take a look. So these trays here have a mix of my 10-month-old and 1-year-old Copiapoa seedlings. Like, I was watching my 9-month video, and I swear these plants were looking plumper and better in that 9-month video than they are now. So, for example, you see like this pot of 9 seedlings, like that guy right in the middle is wrinkled. Like, none of these really look all that plump. Here's an example where a few of them look alright, like the top 2 here. This one looks okay, but this one looks wrinkled. And you're going to see just a mix of that throughout all these pots. So I believe these larger ones are all a year old. Even in this pot, there used to be 4 seedlings in there, and then one of them died. So you see, they're just not very plump, and I apologize as always about the lighting. There's something about these grow lights that just doesn't work well with the camera. So these, I believe, are all a year old. These are all Copiapoa Lundbeckii magnifica. This one is Horrid Spina. Look at that, it's so obvious. Look how wrinkled that is. Like, if you watch my previous videos on this series, you'll see how nice and plump these were. And then this started to happen. I think this is a year old as well. Here's more Lundbeckii magnifica. And then these little ones are really hurting. And between the last update and this time, I turned off, you see I have all these little fans. There's another one on the other side of the shelf. I've turned them either off or turned them lower just to see if maybe they're drying out too fast, or they don't like being, having wind move over them all the time. The other thing that I've done is I took these shade cloths off for the sake of the video, for the lighting. These are 50% shade cloth. I started to cover the seedling trays with the 50% shade cloth just in case this light is too strong, because you'll see that some of these look really stressed in their coloring. So I thought, let's do an experiment and see if I reduce the light intensity, if it makes any difference. And honestly, I don't think any of this is making a difference. Like the airflow change, the light change, they're just, to me, they're steadily declining. Here's the Coquimbana KK1388. This should be one of my, yes, my 10-month-old. See how how shrunken that is? It's been like that for a while. See, they're all shrunken. This is marginata. They've been purple for a long time, but they also don't look so hot. Pepiniana varfedilariana, also very stressed, very shrunken. This pot looks terrible. This one, this seedling is just barely hanging in there. Tigriensis, unfortunately and very sadly, are gone. There's a very yellow seedling here, and that's all that's left. This Heseltoniana, surprisingly, is still hanging in there. Can't believe it. Back to the Lembeckii. This is Bar Magnifica. This one is a year old. This one is 10 months old. These are all the smaller ones. Let's see, those are 10 months, 10 months, 10 months. Small ones I don't really hold my breath on, although these actually look alright. Very pretty. See, look, oh, so wrinkled. So wrinkled. This one's a year old, kind of wrinkled. Oh, this is very obviously, sorry if I'm not pointing my camera right. These are a year old. Look how wrinkled they are. They're just kind of shrunken and wrinkled. These are all a year old. This one's growing. That one's really pretty. Yeah, it's a mystery. So I think my next step is to take these outside, and we're in late September now. Today's the last day of September. We're finally cooling down. Our highs are in the 90s now, and our lows are in the 70s and probably 60s pretty soon. So this is a good time to move them outside. So here's the other two trays. Let's see. It's a mix again of the 1-year-olds and the 10-month-olds. Let's see. These are 1-year-old. You can see. That looks pretty good there. See, these are all a year old. I don't know if you can tell. See how wrinkled the bottom is? But it's not horribly wiggly, so I'd say it's not dead. It's still alive, but just not plump, you know. Not healthy and plump. There's that 3-headed guy, still alive, thank goodness. This one's really pretty in the color. I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of lighter in color than its neighbors there. Mystery. Probably a combination of light, temperature, airflow causing the issues. When things are going great, I'm like, oh, you know, I'm going to be a great Copiapoa grower. And then things go wrong and I lose all my confidence. Look at that. So dead there. I think these are all mostly a year old. Well, that's not true. This front row is 10 months old. And the last tray, these are 10 months old. These are not doing well. These are Desertorum. Really not doing well. I think many of these are 10 months old. This one, yeah, all 10 months old. And this one also kind of a greener, lighter skin color, really pretty. This is Copiapoa Megariza Echinata. Not too happy looking. Look at that, wrinkled. Purple and wrinkled. Even with the protection from light, they're still purple. These are so little. These are all 10 months old here. And then we get mixes of, I think these are a year old. Those Lembechii. Then we're back to the 10-month-olds. Megariza varichinata. How pink this one is. Even with less light, it's still that pink. And then these Lembechii are a mix of the KK70s and then the Var Magnifica. So, that's 10 months of growing. I think by the next time we come back, we really only have 2 more videos to this series because I was planning to do 1 year of updates on these seeds that I sowed, and then once they turn 1 year old, I'll probably stop the series or maybe just make the updates a lot more spread out, or just do like updates here and there. But then you can really see, you know, one amateur grower's experience in an entire year of growing these cactus from seed. I don't know what educational benefit it gives you, but hopefully it's at least entertaining to see it. Because mostly what you're seeing me do is the mistakes that I make, and then the things that I can't figure out. Let me bring you over to the last shelf just to show you an quick update on these grafts that I did in my previous video on my reality show of showing me graft for the first time. But look at them. I've got 3 of these that took. This one is a Lembechii, but it may be Var Magnifica. Growing really fast, and I know I should knock off those pups that are coming out of the Trichocereus grandiflora, but I want to let them grow to a size where I can pick off the pup and root them. Then I'll have some new plants. Because, again, what hurry am I in? It's already growing. The cyan is already growing pretty fast. It's really pretty. This one is the Coquimbana KK1388, growing very, very nicely. This is grandiflora, Copiapoa, growing very nicely. So this one actually took. Then I've got a couple of failed ones over here, which I'm just leaving them be. And then this is not my graft. And then I've got Copiapoa olivana that I'm trying to graft onto a Trichocereus grandiflora rootstock. This I think I did maybe last week, I don't remember. So waiting a little longer before I take off all the string and ribbon and rubber bands. But yeah, the grafting is really fun. Doing well. I'm going to take you outside now to go visit the older Copiapoa that I have moved outside since our last video. By the way, the whole conversation about moving plants outside or seedlings outside seems to be true for cactus so far, but for my Euphorbia obesa, it has been the opposite. They've been doing much better indoors. So this is my first obesa seedling ever. I think it's going to be turning a year old in October. Look at it. It's a boy, obviously. See this makes me feel like I should be, knocking on his door before opening it. But he's doing really, really well indoors. This is actually his half-sister, a second obesa seedling, doing very well indoors. These are 2 Euphorbia that I had purchased from other places. Actually, my first Euphorbia over here, obesa. It's a girl and it's doing very, very poorly. I think this might be the mother to this boy. But it was doing very poorly outside. It's still doing poorly. I brought her inside. This is a boy. I think this is the father of this obesa. But this one is also doing very poorly outside, and it's doing better now indoors. So my Euphorbia obesa actually are doing better indoors than they are outside. So, mystery. I guess it's just trial and error, right, to figure this stuff out. Okay, let's go outside. Gosh, it's still really warm outside. Okay, let's start in the shade house. All right, we are back inside my shade house, which many of you are probably quite familiar with by now. I would say that there's a mix of good results and not good results for the Copiapoa that I moved from indoors to outdoors last time. Some of these you saw in my last video, and let me show you. So for example, like some of these are still very, very wrinkled. See that? These 84.1 Coquimbana are having a hard time, but it's a mix. Like some of these look really wrinkled, but some of them look okay. Sorry about the lighting. Those are wrinkled, but this one looks okay. This one looks like it's doing better. Like over here, this one looks okay. A little wrinkled, but better. These guys are still wrinkled. So you see it's kind of a mix. Here's some Lembecki KK70s that look really, really good. Like I know that this is a different batch of Copiapoa than the ones indoors, but these are looking nice and plump, not wrinkled. They were very wrinkled before I moved them out, so I think this is making a difference of moving them outside. These guys, I think this is Wagonectii, yes. Doing way better. You can see somebody died back here, but these guys were so wrinkled indoors, and now look at them. Same thing with these Wagonectii. They're like plumping up. This is Tatalensis desertorum doing well outdoors. You can see signs of new growth up there. This is Molecula doing better outside, growing really fast. Looks like a little bit light stress there. That has been one of the big challenges, is in figuring out the light. It happens every time when you move cactus from indoors to outdoors or change their locations. Look at that. Gosh, there's a mosquito in here. So it's always a challenge when you move plants from indoors to outdoors, or even if you move them locations outdoors, as the lighting change. You have to do a lot of observing to make sure that things aren't burning. And I did run into that problem when I moved these guys outdoors. So these are the ones that have been out here since spring, and they're doing fine. Maybe they need a little bit more light, actually. So, you know, I need to move 4 of these trays somewhere else to make room for the ones indoors to come out here. So I think these can definitely use that change, because they need, to me, they need more light. These are doing much better outside now. Let's see. Yeah, looking good. Looking good. Let's see down here. Those are doing great. Those 2 have been out here since spring as well. Let's see. Still wrinkled here. Just a mix. See, some have died, yes. Sperjetzi. Oh, these are doing much better outside now. They were also wrinkling so bad. I found out that this is grandiflora. They're really sensitive to light, at least more sensitive than other Copiapoa. So I have to be careful with these guys. They were on another shelf in here, and then I moved them down here into the back part of the shade house to give them a little bit more protection from the sun. These are the Olivana. Lots of signs of growth, looking really good. This is probably Pendulina, looking good. Oh, here's my Mammillaria, was it Whizzy Pochlii? Amongst my 10-month-old seedlings. Look at them. They're still really small, but they're obviously really growing. They really like the heat, so anybody growing Mammillaria, don't keep them indoors too long. At least if you're in a warm climate. Like, these guys are doing much better outside. It's pretty much my only species that's not a Copiapoa that's still alive and doing well. These are Bridgetzi, looking good. My really strange spiral, Bridgetzi. This is my Serpentisculata. I just repotted this from its baby soil into adult cactus mix with pumice. These are looking much better. I think this is also Coquimbana. Doing much better outdoors. This is called Arana spinosaur, so you can see that green, new growth, new spines, doing well. This is Rupestris. They look quite stressed. I might move them because they're on the top shelf here. Maybe I'll move them a little on the lower shelf, give them a little bit more protection from the sun. But you can see that overall, they're not doing bad. Outdoors, doing all right. This is humilis. This is molecula, looking good. And then this tray I just repotted from baby soil into the adult cactus mix. I think this, you can see how dark it is on this shelf. This is probably the darkest shelf in here. These guys need more light. Cinerescens. This is so pretty, look at that. Anyway, so you can see that most of them are doing all right, or doing better outside. Let me take you into my shaded area. I have, I think, three or four more trays out there. Let me show you. It's a problem. See, a bird did that. It pulled the prickly pear out of the pot and threw it on the ground. What a jerk. Alright, so here we're going to see a mix of good and bad, although I would say most of them are doing better. These are, let me see, these are either multicolor or pendulina or a mix of both. This multicolor. I think, let me see what this is. Pendulina. I think these ones are all Copiapoa pendulina, and the rest of them I think are all multicolor. You can see as we look over here, not bad. Not bad at all. They're growing. They're plump. They're looking pretty good. They're doing better out here than they were inside. Now, one thing that was pretty scary was that, you know, I have them on the shelf here, on a lower shelf, but see, I have this extra shade cloth here because there are some gaps over here between my shade cloth, like that gap right there. So there was sun coming in from that gap and shining directly onto my Copiapoa over here. So one day I came out and I was looking at this. I was like, oh my gosh, they're just on the edge of burning. And so I put on that extra shade cloth to block that gap. And so now we're seeing it as it has recovered from the near burn. But a lot of stuff like that happened. Like, I didn't know that there were cracks there, because these older cactus can take that fine, you know, little cracks. But these guys are babies and they just came outdoors from indoors. They couldn't take the direct sun. So there were like some almost accidents that happened. So over here we've got Coquimbana. These guys are not doing as well. Let me show you, like this one. So wrinkled. Oh, this one's so wrinkled. It's just kind of a mix. Mix all over the place. In the back is pendulina. Those guys are doing all right. Some of them are getting pretty big. But yeah, we've had like mishaps in terms of the light. Here's another shelf, another tray below on the lowest shelf. These guys, at first I had them over here, and I can't monitor light all day. I think there was light coming in at other angles of the day and I was hitting it, and they were looking really light stressed. This is molecula. Yeah, some of them not doing well. In the back, it's all pendulina. Oh, there's been a birds have been picking my seedlings out. Let me go get that stuff and then come back. Oh my god, they're just sitting out in the full sun. Oh my gosh. Okay. That is bad. I'll be back. Okay, so you just saw me in real time have my heart break because the birds have come in here and made a mess. So it seems like they pulled out many of the seedlings in the back row of that tray, so I've got to do something about that. Such a struggle with the birds, especially with seedlings that are so small and vulnerable and easy to pull out. Okay, so here's my last tray of Copiapoa. These are some of my bigger seedlings and some of the older ones. Some of these were actually in my shade house in the last update video. You can see that they are growing. This is Lambeckii bar magnifica. This is one of my oldest Copiapoa. This is Lumbekii KK70. So this is already just over 2 years old. You can see those guys are doing pretty well. Let me see. Get a little bit more light. See, those are growing. My weirdo back there. This tree is doing quite well. This week I just potted them all up into the adult cactus soil. This is, see, humilis right here. Copiapoa, Heseltoniana, molecula, growing really fast. Some Cranesiana over here. Yeah, doing all right. Looks like I'm gonna have to think about how to protect these seedlings from the birds. I have a few more Copiapoa seedlings in here inside my pergola. This is my last remaining columna alba that I actually potted up into a revolutionary clay pot. Will it live? I don't know. Basically all the other ones have died. This is one of my oldest seedlings, 2 years old. It's a Lumbekii KK70. I put into a Veronica or AZ Veronica mix pot. Still alive, but I don't know. And then for those of you who watched to near the end of my last seedling update video, at the end I showed some of these Copiapoa seedlings here. They're my biggest ones of all my seedlings. This is Pendulina. I have them underneath because they were getting really sun stressed. So I put them underneath this kind of table shelf thing and they're doing better. This Pendulina, if you remember from my last video, I was showing how it had gotten sick inside the house and had what looks like maybe copper fungus or something. And in the last video, this spot was like further in, so it has grown a bit since the last update video. It's going to grow out of these, you know, this kind of unsightly scars. I'm not too worried about the scars. So doing well. Getting a little extra light protection down here. So it's just, you know, it's tricky when you move the plants for the first time. They're going to be sensitive to light, probably, and you just have to like keep an eye on them and keep watching them and seeing, moving them around when things don't look right. This is grandiflora that was in my last video. Looks alright. It's not really growing that much, I think, but looks alright. And last but not least, this is Wagonectii. This is also in my last video, and you can tell it's growing, doing well. So it seems like the decision to move these guys outside was the right decision. So what I'm going to do is move those younger ones out as well. I'll put them into the shade house to begin with. So now it's a matter of making more space out here. Making the right space, because right now, like, this amount of light will be too much for some of the Copiapoa. But, you know, we're entering into fall now, so even the light on these top shelves might be okay. But, you know, as the season goes on, so we'll see. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that update. We will be back next month for the 11-month update. And I will talk to y'all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.